and in the preview screen, I think you should be able to see in the top left-hand corner, orange live.
Yep.
Yep. And then to the right of that, there's seconds. It's counting at the moment. It says we've been live for this long. And to the right of that again.
When you say live to what? Facebook and
YouTube. It's literally what we're seeing in the middle right now. You and I is literally now being broadcast to YouTube and to Facebook, but only to my personal accounts. It's not going to Creation Ministries.
Yeah.
But it's still scary because it's actually somebody could actually find it.
Yes.
The link if they were looking hard for it, but I can hide it only so far. But what tells us that nobody's watching it at the moment is the next number, which has 0. There's a little eye icon. Nobody's watching.
It tells you who's watching. Okay.
Yeah. But what I will do is to go to that. I'm going to go to that event there, and this might get a bit funny until I turn off the audio. Okay. Yeah. What I will do is to go to that. All right, just mute myself there, and I'm going to send a message. Say something.
Mm-hmm.
It's not letting me do that. It's saying create a channel to join the chat. That's interesting. I've never had to do that before, unless it's thinking about me logging in. I don't want to do that. This is new. Something new's happened here. Chat as such and such. That's not what I wanted. This has got to be live. I'm in my account. Sorry, and I really don't think I wanted to be here. Oh, I'm sorry. I think I've gone to the wrong place or something. Live, there it is. I think I've gone to the wrong place. So it's not here. 15 million subscribers? I don't think so. I'm just going to get out of there at the moment and go back into here to view the event. That's the one. Okay, say something. There we go. Here's a question from someone. How many maps were on the ark? So then they post that, and that should now appear in our channel. Eventually, I'm hoping it does. There it is. Bang.
Okay. So where would you be collecting questions from?
From YouTube and Facebook. So all the people that are joining our live stream, like our live stream right now, there's one person there at the moment, because that's me. We will see 80, 100, 200 people there. If you hover over the little eye in that top left-hand corner, if you hover over the little eye, it actually will break it down into YouTube and Facebook. So it tells us there's one person from YouTube.
Okay.
And in the right-hand side in the chat, we'll see all the chats, every chat. So if we've got Don Batten or Mark
bringing
Howard,
them in, they're just coming in.
They happen automatically.
Okay, all comes up there, and you can tell with the icons whether it's YouTube or Facebook.
Correct.
Okay.
So you can see the one that's come in, the little red icon. Of course, that's a YouTube. Okay. And if the person's got an avatar like mine, creation.com, you'll see that. Otherwise, it might be a photo or nothing. Yeah. And then in the comment, it's got, or the post, it's got their name or their whatever name they've chosen. Excuse me. And then the time that was posted.
Okay.
In my case, it says 13/10/26. I don't know what it says for you.
It says 11/10/20. Yeah, 26 here. Yeah.
Excellent,
so it changes it. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. So, and then there's the question. And so what you're looking for then is you'll see everything. As I say, if there's Mark Harwood, Don Batten, all the other people that are in there, the other 60, 80 or 100 people that are all in there going to town saying it'll just be bing, 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 coming up like crazy. And that's a reason why I, as the host and the guest, will not be looking at the chat, because it's just going to be too busy. Yes. But you'll be watching it just like in Zoom.
Yes.
But it'll be busier.
Yep.
Because there's two streams of comments that are coming in. So you'll see Facebook ones as well popping up. Okay, so in this panel on the right, there's at the very top of the default Restream one, there's a button that says chat overlay. We don't touch that.
Okay.
That's verboten. Okay, simply because what that does, if it's turned on, it will allow the chat to immediately appear in our stream, as you can see now, live. And if there's something offensive there and all the rest, it'll just get recorded and captured and bang, and we don't want that happening at all. and we don't need to give people, that sort of exposure or anything. There's no need for that. We can't turn that a chat overlay, which turned off, but I can't hide it. Just so you're not going to click on it. So what you'll be doing initially, as the questions are coming in, or comments are coming in, I should say, not questions, they're comments. It will be to look for, oh, there's a question. It obviously worded like a question. You'll recognize it as a question. And in the case of the one that's there, if you hover over it, put your mouse over it, you see 3 components there. One is show, and basically if you clicked anywhere in there, it would show it. It would turn it up on the screen. And so that's not something that you'll be doing either, because that's what I would do. Yeah, that's okay.
So
Don't worry about it. You've clicked it, right? So
Yep.
just be mindful of the fact that when you hover over it, wherever you hover on it right now is basically a big button called show. I think that's a real problem, because you might want to click on something else. And if you don't click accurately on the other 2 options that are there in the top right, you'll end up showing it. And we might not want it show. You might actually want to ban it because it's not a good thing, right?
Well, it has got the 3 dots that you can, I saw that, you can block them or put them in timeout. So I'm wanting the star, I'm guessing.
You want the star or those other options as well. Now, don't click into the other options because you'll ban my actual private account, and I'm not sure that I'll get back ever get back in again. But have a look at them. So the thing that you will be doing definitely is, oh, that's a question. You'll click that star in the middle of it. Click the star. So if you click that star, which you've done, can you see there's a purple banner that's just appeared now in the
pinned messages?
That's what I'm going to be looking at. That's all I care about.
You're going to be looking at the pinned messages.
Correct. And so if you've pinned a question, and you'll see it in your big list of all the stuff that's going on, and you pin it, and then you realize, oh no, that's not a question, or it's already been asked, or it's already been starred by somebody, it's already been. Then you just pin it again. Just click on the star again, and it'll disappear.
And it'll come off.
Come off that purple list.
That's all I need to know.
Right.
Okay.
So there's no hassle, no dramas. You just click it. Oh no, I don't want that big, and they'll come and go. Maybe if you whatever. You're not going to be going crazy. Sorry.
Or it's got reply. You can reply to that person and answer.
Yes. So that's. But first of all, that's the main thing, is to star those questions for us.
Questions for you. Yeah.
I'll be sitting there in the purple banner. When you click on the purple banner, just click on that thing there, and all it will show is the starred ones. They'll all be starred, right? And so I'll be going through that, and then I'll say, hey, Andy, here's a question from this guy called La-di-da, and I will then click show, because I'll be asking him this question.
So we're pinning them for you to ask Andy. Yep.
Correct. And I might not ask them all. I might recognize, even though you didn't see it, I might see, that's already been asked, or he's answered it through the way he's done whatever, right? He's already answered it. So I will click on show. And what Jonathan will do, he will come in at a certain point in time. Andy will start answering the question. So what he will do is he will highlight Andy like this, and then he will hide the question or unshow it, and then he's going to unstar it. So it gets removed off my list. So all I'm seeing are the questions waiting to be asked, and I will show them, because Jonathan won't know which ones I will show. I will just pick those that I want, and then when I've done it, I will hide it. He will hide it and remove it. And that's how that works. So you don't need to be in there at all, unless you've starred something and you can't find where it was now because it's gone up the list so far. You can come into the starred ones and say, oh, there's the one I don't want to have in there. Just click on the little star again.
Okay.
And you can take it off.
Okay, so I'm only using, when I don't want show, I only want to highlight it so it's pinned for you or not, or I can take that on or off. I can use the 3 dots at the side. I can reply. I've noticed I can reply to that comment. It shows up down the bottom, or I can block, or I can whatever. So really that's probably all I'm doing, isn't it?
That's, in that case, exactly right.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put something else on the just to put a few in there for you so you can see things coming in. It's been one of our biggest problems, is having something to play with, so they pop up pretty quick.
Yeah.
And bink.
So I just
Yep, and you might star that one.
All right, star. I'm going to star these ones for you.
Star that one, maybe star that one, whatever you want to do, doesn't matter. And you can see the count of starred ones increases, and all the others will just be comments. Might be links from Don. Don's so good with links, putting in article things and so on.
Good.
If Don's doing that, he will typically be in YouTube only. He might have YouTube and Facebook going, but if he wants to answer a question to somebody, he'll only be able to answer it to the YouTube person that he's in and communicate with.
If
he's on YouTube, or if he's in Facebook. In your case, though, when you're putting up those copy pastes from that text file,
Yeah.
you'll do it to everybody. It'll automatically go to everybody in YouTube and Facebook. And so down the bottom of that list, you see there's an R.
Yep.
There's a space to type a message right down the bottom. And there's a little drop-down arrow beside the R.
Yep.
If you click that, you will see there are 3 options there.
Yep.
One is grayed out. That's Facebook. There is a limitation in our training like this where we cannot message to Facebook. It's a limitation with Facebook. But you could send a message to Mark Emerson person. You could reply to click that person, and now the little R changes to YouTube. When you click on my name in there, right down the very bottom, where the R is, and you click on the YouTube, you can see it lists my name.
Your name.
And then you can type a message there, and we can both do it. Can't press that's right. So you could type a message there of any whatever, just chuck something in there, and then click the paper plane on the right. Now that will send that post. There it goes, and it'll go out to there. Now it comes back here. Hi, Mark Emerson, and it's got a mention at Mark Emerson, because you actually sent the message to that person. And the way that the system does it, it's like the same thing as doing an at mention of a person and then the message, whatever it was. And if I go to YouTube and see myself in there, I can see Mark Emerson sent me a message. It's come up as my name for some reason, and I can't quite work that out. What will happen is
in your name. Anything we send out comes in your name?
No. Just for this training. Just for the training, the way that it's all set up. It will come out. It won't come up as your name. It'll come up as Creation Ministries International or as host. So your name will not be exposed. Neither will mine.
Okay.
and so it appears in the everyone in the Facebook and YouTube chats will see the same message. It'll come from Restream. It'll come from Creation Ministries International, whatever, and they'll see the same post. And that's how that works. So that's a really cool thing. There's actually another product that we could be using in Restream, and it's actually focused just on the chat, and you won't see the video. You could be logged into the studio, but you could use this other tool, and I'm still playing with it at the moment to see how it works. I'd like to fire it up now, but I just can't take more of your time, or can't take more of my time. But it provides a few extra niceties as well. But I'm just not quite sure whether I want to expose you guys to it.
This is enough for the moment, I think.
Yeah, that's right. So what you did there was to reply. But typically what you will do is you will click on the Restream one down the very bottom and have the R there, right? Because your role in copy paste is to send a message generally to everybody. Don and Mark and others might be out there answering questions. You may not have the time to answer questions, because you'll be pretty busy reading the stuff coming in and starring and then getting ready at the end of the presentation. In this case, it's a live talk, and people will just be either quiet because they'll be watching it, or occasionally popping up a question. And then at the end of the talk, of course, I'll do the promotion of the resources, the usual thing, and encouraging people to get their questions in, and then it should take off as people do it. Unlike Zoom.
Yeah, you can't stop people putting comments in while it's happening.
Exactly what I was about to say. That unlike Zoom, where we sort of turned it all off so that people would just watch and listen, this is live, it's on. And they were doing this in YouTube and Facebook when we were in Zoom. We were streaming to Facebook for all our Zoom, and then in the background, we actually put this studio in the background. Nobody knew about it. But we were taking the Zoom and then using this studio to push it out to YouTube and Facebook. And I got across that and I said, well, why aren't we doing this like anyway, because it's so much better. So that's what we did. We started to do all of that. So what happens now, though, is anybody doing anything in YouTube, Facebook, putting comments up, we see it in the studio, like you're seeing it in the panel. But we can't stop them. So that's fine.
To watch all the way through for any questions or any rude comments.
Correct. So you'll be watching for their name, their avatar. They might have a rude picture on there or something for their graphic. That's pretty rare, but they can do that. And of course, they might have a really offensive name. This has happened already. We've had this happen already.
Yeah, I bet.
Matthew McLean was, I think he managed the first or the second CVP we did. I think I did it the first time. I think I produced. Oh no, I was the host producer. Matthew helped out, and found. Oh, I couldn't see it, but he found this person came in with a very offensive Bill Gates. Said something, a swear word, Bill Gates. The person was obviously on side, was not happy with Bill Gates, and Matthew, unfortunately, in his attempt to try and ban the person, clicked on that big button, show button, and for
Oh,
right in the middle of the presentation, it came up. How did that happen? What's going on? I didn't know what was happening. I read it. And I thought, oh, that's so bad. So I was madly trying to find the question, and I couldn't. There were so many things there. Anyway, it was only up for about 4 seconds, and poor Matthew just it just felt terrible.
yes.
But he didn't. I mean, it's just accidental that he clicked the big blue button. I mean,
Big blue button. When you're in a hurry to block.
yeah,
absolutely.
and it's
So
the first time.
do I have the option when I click on those three dots? It's got reply or add to block list.
Yes,
So
so
that's
let's
what
go
I
through
do.
that. Let's
Yeah.
go through that list now.
Yeah.
I should go to. I'm going to go to another one. Try to get out of there. Go up to another one that gives me all three there. So a reply to the reply will only gives different options. If you
Yep.
see the replied question, it only allows
Yeah.
you to block.
Yes.
Reply and block.
That's right. Reply and block. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, so what you get normally are 4 options. Facebook
Yeah.
and YouTube are different.
I
So
can
the
see
system
them.
knows, oh, this is Facebook. All right, you get these options because it's different on Facebook to YouTube. What it doesn't tell you is what this is going to do necessarily for how long. And the other problem is they're in the bad order. I've asked them to change the order of these things. You see the reply, that's good. It's at the top. That's probably what you want to do. But you won't be replying to people, except if somebody's got something that is offensive or they're not actually being a listener, they're just out there to push their wheelbarrow back, they're dominating, then you would reply. You would reply to them. So in this case, Facebook wouldn't get the reply. Everybody on YouTube would.
Yes.
So you would go out there politely saying, would you mind moderating your language or this is a discussion for people who want to learn about origins issues or whatever. I respectfully request that you listen, whatever, because they're spammy. We've had the spammers as well, just getting in there trying to just dominate, take over the whole thing.
So you don't just block them straight away?
Well, you could, but if they choose to, if we want them to engage. If they're against us, well, we want you to participate. If you're not going to, you're just clearly not wanting to listen. Fine, we're going to block them.
And try the nice approach. And you reckon then you'd put them on timeout would be the second one.
The third option, yeah.
Okay.
So I've asked them to change Restream to change this order to be reply, a timeout, then a block on YouTube, and then the last one is the grand mal. Kick them off the entire studio, no matter what. They can't come back in for this session because they could come out and go back in and then try to get into Facebook, right? But Restream will know. No, I just found you. You come back into Facebook and you are blocked completely from this.
Okay, so it's going to block both.
Correct. Yep. So the order is wrong. So be mindful of that. So if you clicked on the timeout one in YouTube, it's 15 minutes.
Okay.
And all of their comments, anything they might have said up to that point is all hidden. It's still available to us as moderators. We can still get to it, but it's all hidden from everybody else. And they're not told that they've been
blocked.
They're just blocked. Bang, they're in a timeout. Then it opens up. And if they decide to change their behavior and they come back on and we see that they're in there, fine, great. But if they're just doing the same thing, clunk, block from YouTube. And they're literally blocked out, and YouTube will block them for this session. That's the end of that. They can't get out of that block. But if
they might want to go back in through Facebook and start doing the same, so then you'd just completely
in which case you may not recognize them. They might look like a different person. They might have a different name and different avatar and try and conceal themselves. In which case you just treat them accordingly, modify your behavior. And on you go.
Although I can't do that to Facebook, can I? Only to YouTube.
Yes, you can. No. Anything that's come in here that's on Facebook or YouTube, just that you'll get different options. And when they put in their timeout in Facebook, it's 10 minutes in Facebook. Facebook just got a different rule.
That makes sense.
But the same options apply. Block from Facebook and block out of Restream. Okay. So they're the options, and that's the the other thing. So we've had to do that on a couple of occasions now. And when that happens, if you're going to take that action, write down their name, the avatar, or if you can go grab a screenshot or something.
Yeah. Okay.
Because if they complain to us later on, and one person did complain to us, then
Mhm.
we need to have this evidence that we've taken this action at this time. I messaged them to ask them to moderate their behavior. They didn't. I put them in a timeout. They came back, bang, they did this, and then whatever. In the meantime, questions are coming in.
I
So
know.
it could get quite busy. And
I
if we
mean,
discover,
normally in these things, they know they have to. Every Facebook something has to be respectful. Blah blah blah.
correct,
All the rules.
correct,
So if they're not
correct,
obeying that straight
correct,
off, I don't know why you
correct.
gently talk to them. I just remove them or put them in timeout. Really,
Because
everyone knows what's
well,
expected.
1 Peter 3:15 calls us with gentleness and respect to
Yeah, but
give them
yeah,
the option. That's right, I know. Look, and as we learn more about this, and I'm drafting a policy at the moment. We've pretty much finished it, and some procedures to help you guys, because we don't have anything to help you to know where that line is crossed. I mean, some of it's going to be pretty obvious if there's foul, offensive language, or offensive names. All there, no question about it. Bang, take them off straight away if it's really rude. Um, there's no chance. They know they've come in with something truly offensive. But if they're just trying to dominate, they're trolling, which means they might put one word in for each message. You guys don't care, well, whatever. They're just filling up the space. Tell them to stop that. Try and help them. Try and help them make a better choice. That's all. And if they want to learn and listen,
you
no, we're
sound
not
much more
interested.
tolerant than me, Mark.
I know. But as we learn more about this, because we've got these controls, which we've never had before, then it might be that, no, we learn that they just get that's who they are. They just go around. They just want to shut it down.
Yep,
They really don't care, right?
they really
Um,
don't care. No.
that's right. So that's what the policy is, to try and help with that.
Yes.
And whatever choices you make, whatever decisions you make, it will be your own good sense and wisdom and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
If you see something like that and you want to block them straight away, you go for it, right? You are
Yeah.
not going to be held to account.
And am
Not
I
going to
the
happen.
only one checking? Like, if I'm replying to someone who's rude, and then watching what's happening there, I've also got to be pinning all the things, or are there two of us? Just me doing that?
Yep.
Yep.
Nobody
Okay.
else can pin
Yep.
the questions
So
in
that's the
in
most
YouTube.
important thing is
Yeah.
pinning.
Yeah.
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 Hmm.
And so if you get into a bit of an argy-bargy with somebody, you'll be able to go back up the channel to see the last pinned one, because you'll have the long string of things, and then you'll see, oh, there's the last one I started, and you can start from
Okay.
there again and come back down. So it's not like
Okay.
you've got to be watching everything coming in quite literally right now and pick up a
Yeah.
question. Um,
Hmm.
there'll probably be 2 or 3 questions already that I'll be more than enough time to go through and um, you know
Yeah.
give you time to go and do whatever you have to do. So, the main thing is, I guess, as questions or as comments are being posted that are coming in, if somebody's offensively done something and you're sitting there 20 minutes ago trying to star things, then of course that offensive thing is out there for quite a time.
Yeah.
There are moderators in Facebook and YouTube, but we're not putting
Okay.
the onus on them to actually be online, because it's for them, it's usually Singapore or could be in UK.
Yeah.
Um, we
Okay.
started doing that sort of thing. Israel, if you know that name, Israel Saltura,
Yeah. Mhm.
he's a guy in the Philippines, and he's Singapore, I should say, and he's a formal moderator. There's quite a few of us around the world, and Jonathan's one of those, but he won't be moderating on the night. So,
Okay.
um,
Mhm.
Don Batten, people like him will likely get in there and say something as well, but he doesn't have the ability to kick them off.
Kick him off. Yeah.
Yeah, so it
He
might be
could
in time.
he could send me a private message, Maureen, kick him off. Okay. Yeah.
That's right, and it might be that when
I've heard, I know this guy from before or something. I know who
correct,
he is. Kick him off. Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
And so it might end up being, if this gets bad, and I imagine it will get worse if we're doing our job properly and we're out there in the face of the
Yep.
secular world. They're not
Yep.
going to like us at the moment. I think it's a
No.
bit of a slap in the face that they don't care.
Mm.
They don't care to look up we publicize our events. It's on our calendar page, our own events page. We send out emails, of course, to supporters, but how they find us are obviously the casual ones who are just generally looking around and going to our YouTube page. And I think you're right. They're probably the ones that are there to try and shut us down. But there's only the one or two.
Okay.
and they've got to be interested. But if we're doing our job, there should be heaps of them trying to shut us down. We're just not attracting them, so we're not doing a big enough job at the moment. And so therefore in time there might be 2 or 3 assistant producers sitting back there and probably using that tool I'm mentioning, which is the chat room, a dedicated chat app, and gives you some more controls. All right, so that's that. And then the other thing is, of course, the copy and paste, right?
Yes, that's how do I, because from on this screen I can't see
No,
where you had
not from the screen. So in the past,
Okay.
in YouTube, in Zoom, you might remember I'd get online, and once you guys are on, because in Zoom you could only see posts from the time you join. You couldn't see anything in the past. In this case, people getting onto YouTube and Facebook, they could see all the chats from the past before they got online. But for you, we can't store them up anywhere like we used to do in the chat room in Zoom. I would paste them all up there and put them in there. Nobody could see them because they couldn't see the history. But you could, because you could go back and copy and paste. So we can't use the chat room for that, unfortunately. So what we do is that file that that resource text file that's in Teams, you'll grab that file and you can put that up on your Windows desktop, or have it open somewhere, right, as a file, and then you can copy and paste the bits out of it. Whatever, same to what you would have done you could have done in the past, but you didn't need to, because I did that in the chat room. So that's the answer right now. Is you grab that file, the resource text file, out of the channel for this event, and then open it up on your desktop, and you really only.
So when I went in via the login into the account, that brought me to here, though.
That's right. That's nothing to do with Teams. You're in the studio on the night. This is how it'll look on the night.
And getting back into the
to Teams.
Teams, yes.
Now I just don't know. I've got to solve that problem for you, because I can give you, if I sent you something in Teams, I'll give you a link. Let me see if I can't get your link to the file. I can get a link to the file. I'll send you that link in a chat. Let me just do that, just to see what it looks like for you. Eventually, you'll get something, all right? I'll copy the link, and if I copy this link and send it to you in another chat over here, in there, and I'll give it to you in there. Reply at Maureen. So I'll mention you. Here's the link to the resource text file. Right, and we'll just see where that takes you and what it looks like. That should open up Teams for you. Control K, Control V, enter, and send. I'll delete that eventually, because I don't want that really into that chat area.
Where are you sending the message through?
Well, I don't know where it goes, but Microsoft Teams will notify you somehow, either through an email, right, that you've been mentioned, because it knows your email address. It'll probably turn up as an email, and then you'll click a link to open up the file, and it'll either take you to a Teams thing in the browser. And I hope it does, because then it'll open up the file structure and the chat that's in there.
So there's 2 things. There's the Teams is what's that? A site, and there's the studio.
Studio, correct. And you don't have to log into the Teams, because you just clicked that link of the invitation that I sent you. You clicked the invitation. I'd already set you up in Teams, and then that allows you to come in and to look around and do whatever. With the studio, you have to log in, like you did with, unlike you did with Zoom. You still had to click on a link to connect in, and then we set you up as a co-host. So this is a little bit better.
And that's the all.assist.produce.
That's right. Yeah, Australia. Yeah, au.assist.prod. And once you've done that, if you save that in the browser, right, there's your bookmark or something, you won't have to log in again. You'll just have to click the event, enter the studio for the particular event that you're joining. You'd still have to go off and click on the account name in the top right and join the team and do whatever. You might have to still do that. Because once this event's closed and finished, the browser will have the link to an event that's closed, and it should take you to Restream dashboard for the account that you log in on, and then you go to the team, top right hand corner, click on Creation Ministries team, and then you will see what I see as the owner, the events that are there and the dashboard and stuff like that. And off you go. And join.
So you sent me a message just to see where it hasn't come through anywhere.
Just check your spam as well. It might be the
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
you might have to add the Microsoft Teams domain or something to the safe list.
Not yet. No. So it hasn't come through as an email. So it's just depending how that's going to come through.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm madly trying to think. How can I? Maybe I can set up my own private email address as a guest and do the same thing to myself. I have to do that. That's what of course that's what I can do. I can just use one of my personal email addresses as a guest, add myself to the team, and then I can see what you're experiencing.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
Okay.
but I probably we'll see. It probably will start up Teams because it'll know that I've actually got a Teams account. So it won't give me the browser experience in Teams.
So how have the others got stuff from
Same
you?
as you. They're all guests. They're all getting something.
Yeah.
I know that Russell and Hugh,
Okay.
they've been in there texting me or chatting to me in the channels.
Yeah.
What they see to do that, I just don't know yet.
Okay.
Um,
Because all I've got is click here to join the meeting,
yeah,
and that's not what
that's from the Outlook. That's from Outlook
Yeah.
appointment. That's the
Yeah.
appointment. So you can cancel that now, delete that.
Yeah.
Um,
And I don't have other stuff. Like if you've sent me stuff recently from you, I haven't got. You said Job, the password. How was
yeah,
that
that's an
sent to me?
SMS. That's on the mobile phone. SMS.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. That's the fallback position for any other sort of setup. I
Yes.
wanted to send the password separate to the accounts. Obviously, anybody who's got access to the auassist.prod, can you just imagine if somebody got access to that and came into our events online and
Mess that up. Yeah.
because they get access, you've got pretty big, powerful rights here. As you can see, you're only looking at the chat, but you can get into the captions and the graphics, and you could actually bring people into the studio and out of the studio and turn people off. And we'd see pretty quick that who's that person, who's that coming. I'd jump in there straight away and jump them off, but it would be a distraction.
Yes.
Anyway,
Okay.
and then of course I have to go change the passwords and all the rest of it. And
should I ask Hugh what he got to?
you can, but I'm going to find out. I'm going to find out and let you know. I'll let you all know. I've got a document that is explaining how to log in, like I've just taken you through, how to log in. You get to Restream, you go to that top right hand corner, you click on the team, you're in the dashboard, you go to the events, and then you choose the event that's scheduled. I've described all of that, but what I don't provide is what it looks like when you're coming in as the guest. Yeah, so I need to do it. I know how to do that now. It's in my brain, and I'll do that.
And I did get the messages from you with the Job password and all that, but at that stage, I thought I was not doing it. So
that's really great.
haven't registered that. So
no,
okay, no, you sent me all that about the password required for this Restream.
Correct. Okay, so no, you're definitely wanted. We are not kicking you off. You're our favourite.
Well, I hope the others are better than me. That's all. But I mean, I can learn it.
You learn
I'll
quickly.
get there. But
you learn quickly. No, and you've done many of these. The Zoom days, of course.
Limited things that I did with Zoom. But anyway,
yeah. And so there's a bit more here going on. Of course, we've got a bit more control. So the thing for you to set up is that file. When you do get it, you'll have it somewhere on your desktop. You'll know it's the time because obviously I'll move into. Actually, what will happen is at the end of the talk, I'll thank Andy. Say something about the talk, whatever, and I'll then say, look, we want to tell you about some important resources. The text. And we'll be right back after this important message. That's when I'll run the little ad that you saw a little bit earlier on. This one here. It'll fire.
Okay.
My name is Scott Gillis.
And that just goes for a minute. And then I'll be straight into my slides. And
now, when I put the message into that chat box, it's through Restream.
Correct.
I'm clicking on Restream, and I just copy and paste into the box.
Correct. Yep. Each one separately, not a big block. In Zoom, we used to do 2 or 3 at a time or something.
Okay.
But
So as you're covering stuff, it's putting the putting
so
it in.
I won't. I will have talked about creation.com, maybe or not, but you can copy and paste that into any time you want. There's the Info Bites and the Creation Magazine. We don't actively promote them because there's just not enough time, and nearly everybody that comes on is already an Info Bite subscriber. That's usually how they find us. We don't ask a poll anymore. You might remember the Zoom days did a poll. We haven't set that up yet in Facebook and YouTube. We're not sure that we will. So those 3 ones, you can paste them in anytime you want to.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, just to put it out there for people.
Yeah. Then the
But then
specific ones later.
correct. Yeah. There's 4 top resources that we will, and I'll start in the order. That the Creation Answers book is always the first one, and then there's 3 others or 2 others, and you'll know the slide comes up. Bang! He's talking about wonders of creation. Copy, paste, and it just goes to everybody. And we've had to make them really short because there's limits in the amount of text characters that we can put into a chat. It's 220 characters, but there's also a limit on the kinds of characters we can include. We can't put carriage returns or enter things and stuff like that, have separate lines. It looks horrible. So we've cut it right down to 1 link to the main resource. And when people go there on the website, they'll see that, you can get it as a Mobi, or you can get it on a rereader and things like that. They can navigate for themselves if they want whatever. Okay. And I will say that you can get this particular resource on Kindle or e-reader or whatever. They will then see that when they go to the website. And we know the reality is a lot of people might be clicking and having a look, but hardly anybody's buying stuff. At least we can't really tell that they're buying it because they're not using the coupon code. So we don't do a coupon code anymore. Right? Because there's just no point in us offering it. It takes up time. It takes up quite a bit of time in advertising. And we do get criticism from people occasionally. If I rabbit on too much, they'll certainly get upset. So I try to keep what I say about the title really brief and go through it and all the rest of it. So there's only 4 of those. And then that's the end of the last one. It stops. I go off. And the last bit for you to copy and paste will come at the end of the event, which is about the next event.
Okay. Yeah.
And so you'll see I've stopped talking about the books, right? Leave the last one. We'll come back to the question and answers then. That's when you'll come over to keep on starring questions, and doing all that sort of stuff. And then they will come to the end of the question time. I'll wrap it all up about 5 minutes before. That's going to be at something like 9 o'clock, 5 to 9, or 5 to 7, I suppose it is for you. That I'll start to wrap this up, thanking everybody for helping, thanking everybody for being here. And now next time on Creation Viewing Party, that's your cue. It'll be something like that. Next time, we're going to have whatever it is, and the slide will go up, and that's when you'll copy and paste that one. And then that'll come off, and we'll say goodbye, and then a video will play to take everything out.
Okay. It's pretty straightforward. It's just getting to use it.
And I don't have the outro up there yet. That's interesting. Okay, so I've got a bit of work to do in the thing. And that's it. And so you can keep on. You can say goodbye to everybody as well. Put a post up there saying thanks everybody for participating and whatever. There's in the run sheet. That's another file that you can grab hold of when you do find out how to get there in Teams. There's a file that's called the run sheet. It's at the top level when you click on the first thing to go to all the documents.
Okay.
It's the same place where the resource links are. There's a run sheet. And the PDF, you'll be able to download that. And it's basically for you. It'll talk about connecting in at a certain time and checking things for yourself that you are in. It's not so important for your microphone and camera, but of course it is, because we want to chat at the beginning. We certainly want to chat at the end. And if the world does go pear-shaped and you feel you need to break in and say, Mark, it's not working, or your video's not on, whatever, then do that.
So can I contact you via the private chat then?
Yes. That's thanks for mentioning that. That's the only way that we can chat, unlike Zoom, where it was one person you could pick as the host or the co-host to chat to. This goes to everybody in the green room.
Okay.
Everybody in the green room, right? There is a request at the moment that in the Techo that in the green room, people that are grayed out should be able to go to another room, a room, and be able to freely chat and actually produce and talk about stuff, and it doesn't get broadcast, it doesn't get streamed, instead of chatting. Because the problem with the chat is the person, the guest speaker, is going to see that pop up, and we can't stop it popping up. When something's typed in there and sent, you see it just popped up.
Yeah. So that's a distraction when someone's trying to
Absolutely.
speak. Yes.
So one of the things I say to the guests is ignore it. Just it'll be nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
If it is, you'll know about it before it pops up because I'll be doing something as a host. I'll
Yes.
be having to deal with something.
Yes.
But unfortunately, I can't stop it popping up. So that's a request as well, that it just should appear a bit like the starred messages, just as a little symbol on there to say there's a new message there. And that's a signal for us to open it up and have a look rather than for it to hit us in the face. So yeah, we should be able to move it around and do anyway, whatever. This is a really good studio environment, but there's so many things to improve. It's not funny.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So thanks for reminding me about the chat. And that's really about it. So I will get out.
Yep. Once I can get into that, what do you call it?
Teams,
The
Teams.
teams. Yep. I'll go through the resources stuff and the run sheet and get all that ready.
Yep. Perfect.
And then I've got a way of getting into this, and I will have the timing to log into this.
Yep.
So on the night, I don't need to go into the Teams thing at all.
No, not really. If you've downloaded the 2 files or the one file really that you need, the run sheet's quite simple for the assistant one.
I'll have a look at that too.
Yeah. It basically says obviously connect, and then it says star questions, because from the start of the thing, once we've gone live, there'll be comments coming in. You can start starring questions from then. Then there's copy paste resources. Then there's the next event, and then say thank you.
Yep.
That's largely it.
Okay.
Your focus is going to be in the studio more than anything. So the run sheet isn't of great assistance to yourself. If you can remember when I start talking about the resources, that's your trigger. But it's your resource list that you need to have, of course. All right, and I'll get that out to everybody. I'll get a cheat sheet about what it should look like for you when you come into the studio as a guest, into Teams, I'm sorry, as a guest, what it will look like and how you get messages. I'll get that all sorted. And we'll be right to go. So, good questions. Excellent.
Okay, that's great. All right. Look, you've taken a long time to do this. You have to do this with everybody.
Well, I've done 2 training sessions where I had 2 groups. And then with each new person, like yourself, starting, I've done a session. We do it with the host, the guest, and the producer. I run a producer one, which is different. Obviously, we're covering off a whole lot more, but with the guest as well, especially international. So I've already done it with Andy when we were originally going to have this event 3 weeks ago or something, because he was going to be in a caravan in Wales on holiday, and with a Wi-Fi connection.
Okay.
So I said, no, we're not doing that. So we had to change everything. It's caused a big nightmare. So he'll be back in Liverpool. He'll be on a fast network connection. But I did a training session with him 4 weeks ago or something, so that he's familiar with the environment. So that's fine. This happens all the time.
Okay.
But with you guys, it'll stop because you'll know how to do it, just like Zoom.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
So there's 6 of you at the moment, and not only 3 of you have had a chance at it. Roger and Matthew McLean, Roger, Matthew McLean, one other, Andrew Snowden. He did the first one. Andrew Calder did the very first one with me. And he had some problems with a person in the chat room. And then there was Matthew McLean. He had a problem with that offensive name. And then the next one was Roger. Yeah. And
if you had someone's got an offensive name, would you give them their timeout straight away? And can you send them a message while they're no, you can't.
And they don't get told why. So if you kick them straight out, they have no idea why.
So it's better to send a message to them.
And then
saying the name is offensive. We can't go any further with this or something.
That's right. That's right. You've got your name or your
picture is offensive.
Is offensive. It violates our policy and guidelines. Please modify it. Bang, and then you could post that and then put them in a timeout.
Okay.
So at least they get told something.
They know why. Yeah.
So I've checked out the
Facebook.
automatically
come back in 15 minutes. YouTube.
Correct.
Okay.
So I've looked at the Facebook and YouTube, all their guides, their technical side of things, and they acknowledge the participant will get told nothing about why.
Okay.
They just get told you're in a timeout, bang. So that's really dumb. I mean, if that's dumb, why not have a couple of options there, like you're in a timeout because, and YouTube just does that, and we have the option to select a couple of reasons why.
Boom, boom, That's right.
in this day and age with all this point and click stuff, but they don't. You just put straight in there. So I guess that's fair enough that we would send a post to them,
Yeah.
explaining
And
that,
then time them out.
put them straight in the timeout. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And yeah, as I say, whatever you do there, just record that, scratch it down on a piece of paper or something. If you can do screenshots or something of the message, it's not so important because we can go back.
You can go back. Okay.
As a moderator, we can go back in there, but only for a time. We'll start to lose it. And I've been working with the guys in the US, CMI US, who are the owners, the admins of our profiles there, and they said they do all of this as well. I wanted a consistent policy across all our social media platforms.
Yep.
And so they do screenshots when they're dealing with comments that people put up on our articles, or they come up onto a Facebook page, and you know how we are, we're public anyway, and they're blocking people all the time and kicking them off because we are much more exposed in those environments. And I just saw the list today of what's going on. I think it's just non-stop.
Yeah.
So they always capture a screenshot when they do that. They've got that message there, and then that gets recorded so that if anything comes back on us, we know what we've done. So nobody in the Federation, in CMI or the world, is doing live presentations like we are. They're all pre-recorded, so it's easy to press a button, it goes out, puts it up on YouTube, and then there's YouTube comments that will come in after the thing's been conveyed, which still happens for us too. So
is that not a better way? To have it pre-recorded?
It's nice to have it all pre-recorded. It's not live, but you can sit there live responding to people. There is something about the dynamics of being live. People just like to have the knowledge that actually are talking to somebody and seeing somebody live, because Canada do a Creation Magazine pre-recorded thing. America does pre-recorded little chats, little interview things. They have a couple sitting there, and it's highly scripted, and it's just the two of them chatting. They're not really chatting with anybody else outside, so it's a bit cold. Yeah.
So it's good and bad, and then you get
that's right. Exactly, and it requires a bit more organisation. But when we do get better with it, we could actually record. Like I could contact Andy and say, look, I just want you to give your talk to me. And for all intents and purposes, it'll look like I can bring on the logos and overlays and this and that, record it, snap, I've got it. He could be there on the night wearing the same clothes. I say, right, don't forget the clothes you're wearing tonight for the recording. Come back online. We'll press the button and go. And it is live, but of course it's a pre-recording. And nobody would really be any the wiser. And we wouldn't have the hassles of any problems. But it's still live when it comes to the chat room when we're moderating it right there and then. And the host and the guest would be there live. And
you just
there
don't
is
have
something nice.
The helper putting up showing this question or doing anything else wrong at the time.
You can't do that when it's pre-recorded on YouTube.
If it's pre-recorded, it's you know it's going to be good. That's all.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So it just removes some of the technical uncertainties, of course, with being live. But so far, people are really appreciating it. Just like in Zoom days, we haven't had very many technical issues at all in the studio at the moment. It's worked pretty well. Most of the issues have been just trying to make it look professional without going too far, making it fresh and all the rest of it. Alrighty.
Okay, thanks, Mark. And I'll hear from you about the other bit and go from there.
And to get out of this, you either click on the top right where it says leave, or there's just above our image, our video screen. Oh, so I've had you maximised all this time, and you haven't seen me at all. Sorry.
I've got you in the side window.
Of course, in the green room.
And we're still live.
And